Yeah. No, I don't even.
Hi, everybody. It's Talk Fort Dodge again with Todd and Jeremiah, and we have special guests today. And you might wonder by the title, we're going to talk about leadership Fort Dodge and abstracts, which have nothing to do with each other, except in this program right here, you'll get to find out about both. So, you want to introduce our guests?
Yes, we have some guests here, and we have Danielle with Abstract Associates, and we have, what's your name? Jennifer Brown. Miss Jennifer Brown, although I still call you by your maiden name.
Also
and you're
with
still on my
Abstract
phone.
Associates.
And Daniel
Yes.
Mahaski.
Yes, and we had you guys on because you guys have both done the leadership class, and we think it's such a cool thing that a lot of people don't know about. So, Jen and I are doing it right now.
Mhm.
Do you still go by Jen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
You
whatever.
never know.
Jen, Jennifer, you
I
know.
called somebody
Many-
Mel one
Mrs.
time,
Brown.
and she's
Many
like,
different
Mrs.
names.
Brown.
Many
Brown.
different names.
Yeah, there's probably names we don't want. The censor button should come out when there's some of the names
I know.
I might get. Oh yeah,
Yeah, like the names I never thought you would name.
Those are the names they call me when I call. Can I get this abstract tomorrow? Like, Todd, you really got to quit doing this because it does take time to update an abstract, and I know
Yes.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It all
in my mind, it
depends.
should all happen yesterday. I get in trouble for that sometimes.
In an ideal world, that'd be nice.
I just go up there and smile and be like, "You please help me, please."
Yeah, been there.
Please."
Yep.
Try.
So
We do our
tell us about leadership Fort Dodge right now. What have you guys done?
Well, we've had 2 classes,
Yep.
and it's fun. I've learned a lot about the community already.
I feel the same way. And I think that the change I know in previous classes they've done kind of the recreation portion at the end of leadership, and we ended up doing it first. And so we right off the bat got hit with anything like fun and exciting in Fort Dodge, and I just felt like that was like the best way to kick it off, just because it's like
It is a good
right
idea.
off the bat you see the amazing entertainment and the recreation activities that are here that most people don't even know we have. So it's just like, oh my gosh, it's very eye-opening.
It is. I didn't realize, like, we went to Phillips Middle School, and the arts and like the stage that they're putting together
Mhm.
and like the plays that they want to do. And, that just brings more people. And then they talked about Iowa Central, how they're redoing their entire arts program right now. Like
They're
they're in the
completely
process.
rebuilding Decker Auditorium.
Well, and some cool things with that, they're putting a space on the back so they can build the sets right there and move them up instead of building them off sites and trying to squeeze them through a double door. So they have a set building place behind the stage so you can build your new set and then just push it out when you're ready so they can have more than one show at a time going on, or they're not trying to do stuff so slow. So
Yeah.
it's just some really cool ideas.
And
And
then we went out to the ATV park, and I've driven by it a couple 100,000
Yeah.
times.
Right? Right?
But we
You
got to
know?
get in the side by sides, and I went with a ex-professional. I want to say it right.
I did
Motocross.
Gavin. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
We
a
were
big
with
deal.
Gavin.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he was my driver. And
Did
we
you
went
tell
to-
him what they
we went-
did? He kept stopping so they could go real fast and catch up. with
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, he had said that.
I had the old map. Well, he held the map, but then we'd start going all around and then come back to the back. And
That's
it's
too funny.
like, holy crap, this is fun.
Yeah, you had this video and you're like, look at how fast this is going. And the video can't depict exactly how fast you're going.
I
I,
know,
was
it's
like,
like,
oh
it
yeah,
actually
I
looks
saw it too.
I should have showed the speedometer going.
Yeah, there you could have definitely gotten a full
Well, that was a
effect of
great
how-
addition because we never got to do that. So
No,
I
we
wish-
didn't. Well, it was cold when we did it. They did the recreation part, so you got to go to Frenzy and do some of that other stuff. But it was too cold to actually go outside and do any of those things.
I'm not sure if it was even.
Well, you had like a
No,
bummer year
Yeah.
They
because of
said
it
was-
COVID. I mean,
They said it was the very first time
that they actually
we
had
actually got to go out because it was always raining or it's
Yeah.
just too
Oh,
cold.
it might have been raining.
it.
Yeah.
But I mean that alone as an asset for our community is insane. I mean, I went home and told my husband, I'm like, you would not. We actually did this in Glacier National Park in Montana, and I would say that what we have here surpasses that. I mean,
And they want to
side
make
by
it
side
bigger.
in the mountains, I think this is better.
Well, it was eye opening, and then we have a bike trail they talked about that I haven't been out to, mountain bike trail.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. And they're adding on to that pretty often.
and that's kind
Yeah,
of like
and it's like how many people come to town for those.
well, and
things.
that's kind of self-made by those people who use them. You know, like they were explaining.
Well,
Lori
Chris
Rainerhorst
Walker's out there all the
said,
time with
Yes,
the bike shop,
yep.
and he has a lot to do with that. There you go, Chris. There's a plug with Shane.
Yeah, bike shop. We
The
have
bike
we got
shop.
all of our bike stuff in there. So
Yeah, we got e-bikes. So.
I'm not there yet. I want to. but
I'm just
not there
lazy.
yet. Hey, you still have to work to do those. From
Oh,
what
yeah.
I hear.
Yeah, you do. But no, the
okay,
local
so
investment.
like we just had 2 classes and it's been so eye opening. So you guys went through the whole program and it's 12 classes or whatever. So like, how have you guys benefited from the program? in
Well,
the
mine
past?
was a COVID year. So we actually missed between weather and COVID. We went over the 2 years. So there was a lot of classes that we missed. We didn't get to go to the Capitol. We didn't get to do a lot on our recreation day. It was eye opening on there's a lot of things in Fort Dodge. I've lived here my whole life. I didn't know that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, I really wish the OHV, I wish I could have went out there.
I know I felt bad almost going back and being like, guess what we did?
Yeah.
And I'm showing them videos. I'm like,
We didn't get to do it because they just didn't do it when I did it. I think I was in 2015, so it's
Yeah.
been 7 years. But what I found out was the
Probably didn't have a
connections you make.
campground out there and all that.
The campground was being built, I think.
It's so crazy.
Ours was the connections because I was in there with Cameron Nelson. And after that, we actually hired him to run the Sears storage for us for a little bit. So it was the connections you made. And I'm like, I got to know this guy. I think he'd be good at this. He can talk, he can sell, he can do all this. So we hired him there and then he went to Shimcat.
That's a big thing
He
for me
left me high
Yeah.
and dry.
too, as
Thanks,
far as
ma'am.
that goes. The networking with other people in our community, because
Mhm.
I'm meeting people that I never would have thought. I mean, Jeremiah and I have known each other a really long time, but without this class, there's several people already that I've made connections with, that I've connected with on social media, that I just really wouldn't have met not doing leadership. So that part of it's great for me too. I agree with you.
It has been really, really cool.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part.
And
I'm
now
a
they're
people
bringing
person.
back like alumni classes.
Yes.
Have you guys done
Mhm.
that?
We
at
went
all,
to
or
the
luncheons?
just the luncheon, and I think from last I heard they're going to start it the first of the year. After the first of the year, then they're going to go bigger. So
I think
don't
they
know.
just have everybody there instead of trying to break them up by class. Because
Yeah,
I have to
they
go
almost
back and
have
look
to.
and see what year I graduated. To remember, I'm like, Joyce, I'm telling my wife, what year did I graduate from this?
Where's
I don't
my
know which
plaque?
one to sign up for.
It was so
I
interesting.
called Cameron, he didn't know either.
That they have been doing this for so long. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that this
11
was
years
a
or
thing
whatever.
for, I mean, that they've been doing it for quite a while, which is really great. I mean, it's
And now they have the one for the kids. Is it called the junior
Yeah,
program?
yep.
That's neat. And they said that went off really well too.
I got
Yeah.
to speak at that next month, and you guys got to listen to me when you go to Shiny Top, talk about how Shiny Top became and all that.
Oh,
So we went out to Camp Winoki. So this weekend, Jade, my sister, came back from Colorado, and I was there a month ago for their wedding. And all they ever talked about is the mountains and how beautiful they are, and blah blah blah. It's like, well, I was beautiful too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when they came back, this weekend was beautiful. So I took them out to Camp Winoki, and we went down to the river and then climbed the hill and did a
It's
little.
funny.
And it
It's
was,
neat out there.
and I wouldn't have even thought of doing that.
No,
We
Yeah,
it's
also
well,
caught up
I
while the
wanted-
leaves were changing and everything else.
But I wanted
Had
them to
have been
see
gorgeous out
the
there.
leaves and like,
Yep.
this is Iowa.
we
Screw
that's funny.
Colorado.
We
That's
ended up
right.
doing that too. Maddox and I my son and I went out there and did the same thing. I think it was even that same weekend after we had done our class. And he was blown away by like the teamwork obstacle course. He thought that was the coolest thing. He's like, Dad, you've got to try this. There's no way you'll make it through. He's like, and we walked. We didn't go down by the river, but we walked the trails out there. And I almost favor that now more than Dolliver, which we're pretty
Yeah.
big at going there too. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay.
So that's how you type leadership Fort Dodge into abstracts. Is we all went through the leadership.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, dead giveaway.
Well, we all have a connection. I mean, through that and with the realtor aspect, abstracting, you need us to get where you need to be to close your sales. And
Yes. So along with that, what is an abstract? A lot of people do not know what an abstract is. There's so many times we're at a listing and like, okay, we need your abstract and the cost is going to be around this amount. And they're like, what is it? And I would say it's kind of like a yellow book
Yep.
that you flip up like that, like a yellow notebook that you flip like this. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I'll try to find it. But what is it?
Okay, for me, in simple terms, an abstract is the 40-year chain of title for a piece of property in a book form. So any transfer, death, marriage, all of that has to go in showing the full chain of title or the history of that piece of land for 40 plus years, and any liens and judgments against anybody in the last 10 years, really.
So there's, just to kind of build off of that. Most people will say, well, I have my deed. I have my
Yeah.
deed. That's where I
I
got
have my title.
It's different. This book that you have that goes with your house is a collection of all those deeds and mortgages and any recorded public document put into a nice neat book and handed to an attorney for him to say, oh yeah, you're good to go, you have a clear title, go ahead and close your sale. Or for him to say, hey, we need to fix A, B, and C before we can close your sale, him or her.
Or there could be a dispute over a boundary or an easement or.
What's the craziest dispute you've seen?
Oh God.
um,
We
Is
got
there
some,
like
we got some doozies, but
Oh, I'm sure you
The
do.
craziest
You get all kinds of
dispute?
fun ones.
Yeah. We're live on the internet. You want to be on?
we've had some really strange ones because it's all it ends up being a legal situation that we're handing off to an attorney for him to make a decision on. And so we read these documents and we interpret these documents, and Danielle and I both have our CLTP, which means we've taken classes taught by attorneys to show us how to read these documents. And we all of our staff is in the middle of these classes as they progress in their education and knowledge of abstracting. So we kind of like get a really good grasp on what's going on with it,
Mhm.
but it's not something that we can ever say like, hey, this is what's going to happen. It's kind of like, wonder what they're going to do with this,
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Craziest thing for me is probably, I'm not mentioning names, but we did have a situation where, judgments have different statutes in the law. And so there's a federal judgment versus a state judgment. The time frame's a little bit different on those. Most judgments are 10 years. The statute's 10 years.
Yep.
So it attaches to property for 10 years. Well, this one was a federal judgment, and federal judgments in our education attach for 20 years. And so they're different in the sense of you really don't know if it's the date that the judgment was filed or if it was the date that the judgment was recorded in public in your county.
Yep.
There's no how do you say that?
Distinguishable.
There's no set rule on how that works.
It's
And so
unclear.
as abstractors, we are taught that if we are in doubt of something, we set it out and let an attorney decide.
Yes.
And so definitely set this particular situation out and had multiple attorneys calling and saying, well, why did you do this? And, we had an answer for every reason as to why we did something, but it was kind of like we had everyone scratching their heads just because we weren't sure. And
If it's not a problem, don't dispute it.
as an abstract company, also, if we miss something, that ends up falling on our shoulders. That's a liability that we have to take the risk on and maybe have to settle something, whether it be financially or paying to have documents re-recorded. We have to fix our mistake. So we're gonna show it and let someone else decide. So that was actually my response was, well, you're the attorney. I
What
need
do
you to
you
make the
think?
decision. But it is
I'm
very
just noting
interesting.
the facts. I'm just noting.
Just the fact.
I would say that's my wildest.
My
thing.
favorite would be just the wills, the way that some people will,
Oh, yeah.
especially on their deathbed. Some people will set out, I want a party at my funeral, and just the minor funny little things that they'll throw in. This person is completely cut out because of things that they've done.
For my reasons of knowing only. Like, whatever those are.
So
I mean,
wills get pretty interesting, and you can completely cut somebody out, and you can include somebody that
and we've had
So
some.
you
And
just
you
have
might
to be
have
good readers and
children
good
show up that
typers.
We actually have to
Everybody
be able to
didn't know.
interpret legal documents. We like I said, these classes that we go and we take, they're taught at University of Iowa. They're taught
They're taught
by
at-
attorneys.
What
Yeah. What did I say?
You said University of Iowa.
Oh, well,
That
of course, I'm
makes-
partial.
It's a little
makes more
different
sense.
college.
But
Throw it in, go
you
say
and
it.
I, yes, okay.
Yeah.
Totally
I'm wrong
different.
college, but
What does Iowa know about legal?
Yeah.
maybe that makes us sound smarter. No, I'm just no, they're taught by attorneys who are teaching us, a very broad sense of like how to interpret these documents and the legal system and how a court proceeding happens. And so we actually do have to know all of those things in order to know how to make sense of what we're setting out for someone else to read.
Yeah.
You have to know how it's going to be interpreted by an attorney. Like if I was the attorney, would this make sense to me? Because we're not, 9 times out of 10, we're not calling them ahead of time to say, hey, are you going to understand this if I put it in this form?
Format.
You know, so we have a standards book that we follow. We have,
Yep.
there's, Danielle is actually the North Central Regional Vice
Vice
President of the Iowa Land Title Association. And so,
Okay.
you know, she has a big part in how all that plays out. She's on the education committee and
Education and.
I would say if you want to complain about something, you get in a
Yeah,
position
well, yeah, yep.
So you can
so you
complain.
can fix
Yep,
it.
yep.
So you don't complain, you fix it.
Yep.
so
Put yourself in a position to make a voice. Okay. So with all that being said, this is, you know, we're realtors. How do you guys view the market as right now?
Well, our
Like-
drawer was extremely full at one point.
it's always how we determine things. How full the drawer
And
is.
it's
Yep.
slowed down right now. We're towards the end of the year where we're getting where the estates are closing and the attorneys
Are
are
doing
trying
their
to
big
close up
projects.
estates, and sometimes they're separating into several different pieces of property, need new abstracts. So we're kind of at the end of the year.
So it feels like it's slow, but at any point in time that could pick up. You know,
Yep.
when we say that it's slow, there might be 20 things brought into us tomorrow. But
Right.
the thing is that we've adapted so well to being able to kind of gauge that our time frame, like, you know, without bragging about it, without boasting our team, but honestly, we've been told that they can't believe we can get stuff done as quickly as we can. And so when that's the thing with realtors, you know, we don't ever want to put out there that like, hey, we can't do your work for you. It's not a question of whether we can or can't. We'll meet your closing date as best we possibly can. You know, we that is, I mean, we
I
know
know there's other
we know
places
what the
that
outcome
demand
is.
2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I know you've
Right.
done.
I mean, when it was
that for
busy,
me.
we had to say that.
We have to at least tell you where we're at. But I mean, we do our best to accommodate, as you both know. I mean,
Mhm.
you know, if it comes to a point, nobody wants to see someone who's already sold a home, who needs to move into a new home, sit there and wait because of something that we're doing. You know,
So-
we are
So this
really
is a
adamant
really
about
silly question. Every once in a while, we have abstracts that are like 3 or 4 pages, or it seems like.
Mhm.
And then I brought you one today. That was a thick one.
it. That was like,
So they must have a fun office around there. And this we've declared that the show is a PG-17 show. So I took a thick one. I brought you a thick one, and they all
slapped it on the
laughed.
desk.
probably
And it was literally like that thick, though, wasn't it?
It was very thick. Yes.
So
Yeah.
sometimes people keep theirs forever, and that one is probably one that was like started back in 1856, whenever we first started recording documents.
I brought one
Well,
in the
that
other
one was
day that
full.
it went from the United States of Iowa to the state, or the United States
Yeah.
of America
Yep.
to the state of Iowa.
And I think
And it was kind of cool to read, you know,
Yeah,
everything
it
that happened in
definitely is.
150 years.
and I think a lot of mine are original.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of them that I bring you guys are.
Well,
But
a lot
every
of them,
once in a while, like that
they're
one.
like this. They'll have like something shoved in the back. Is that
And
what you're
that
talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's probably about this
About
size.
that size.
Yep.
And but the thing is it opens up
Handwritten.
this way and it's all written by line.
With a quill probably, or a quill
Yeah,
pen.
rather than, and so each one of those is an entry that would be in our abstract now that could be, but they're just lines.
Yeah, it's just a
Isn't
different
that crazy?
And
way
it's
of writing
old,
it out.
yeah.
The funniest thing is too, is like sometimes, especially with like platting, you know, when Fort Dodge was first developed, we have plats, which is like a map of a certain area of town, and those plats were put in these big books and information handwritten about the actual particular
Mhm.
piece of
Mhm.
platting, and we show that in the abstract so that we can make sure we're covering any easements, but nobody can really read it because
No.
it's handwritten with a quill
Yeah.
pen, and we're, you know, going and you know, that's the one thing that we always are constantly like upping is our county offices are so great with
Mhm.
the restoration of their documents here in Webster County, especially because we are fully blessed with great people at our county office. I mean, and that benefits all of us. You guys that
Yeah.
you know, you go in there and record documents, and I mean, they're just so great to work with,
They
and
are.
that helps. So
They
Have
are.
Lindsay
All
on
of them.
next.
You should have Lindsay. She's a great
she is like
I had her present
Yeah.
for me at our meeting, and before she started, I said, "You can't have her," but she was definitely the highlight of everybody's day.
and we had multiple abstractors say, "Can you please come to our county?"
Yeah.
And we were like, "No, she's
No,
not
she's
leaving."
here.
Yeah, she's
She does
the
awesome.
top
Yeah.
the top league when it comes to
Well, we're at about 20 minutes, which is our longest show ever.
Oh, geez,
So
we
we
set
all
a
like to
record.
talk. So we really appreciate you guys coming on,
Yeah.
talking about this stuff, and maybe we'll do it again if you like being on here and
Yeah, for
see what comes
sure.
up.
Heck
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Next week we're having a counselor on, so we can try to
That
make
one might be
Jeremiah
your
better.
longest session ever.
Oh. So be ready for a 4-hour session with Todd.
50 minutes.
You better break out the couch.
We're meeting in his office, so there might be a couch. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks.